You're listening to Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks with Don Carpenter and Chris Brennel.
And Vic Ray.
Yeehaw!
My back's sore. I need a massage, DC.
Well, you seem to think that bringing in interns can solve all of your problems.
They really can.
Interns can get you coffee, and they can sort papers. They can look up stuff on the internet. I'm pretty sure massages aren't legal.
They can give me a nice rub down.
Or
fine.
Chiropractic adjustments.
They just have to sign something. They sign a waiver.
Do you want someone to walk on your back?
Walk on my back?
Actually, that would feel really good.
That's perfectly fine, right? They walk on it.
That's the best thing about having kids is when they're 4 or 5 years old, they're the perfect size to walk on your back.
Oh yeah,
and crack those vertebrae. It's that's the most fun part of having a 4 or 5
so
year
they
old
can
kid.
pop your back.
Yeah. I mean, taking them to amusement parks and stuff is fun too, but it gives you kind of an excuse to act like a kid. But having a kid to walk on your back is great.
I'm just saying, interns would be great because, hey, intern, rub my neck. Intern, I want a burrito. Go fetch me some breakfast.
See, now I think having an intern fetch you food is acceptable.
That is.
Massages, not so much.
Intern,
oh man.
Intern, I want ice cream.
Now, maybe if you have an intern that's in a sports medicine program.
Oh, that's a great idea.
They can do adjustments like they do for athletes.
Now, what if my hamstrings are really tight?
Yeah, well, they can stretch you out. I mean, but you would need a sports medicine specialist for that.
What if I've been doing a lot of sumo squats and I have tight buns?
And you'd have to be an athlete, which none of us are. Well, although you're the closest. I mean, you. When was the last time you did rodeo?
How many bones did you break during rodeo?
I was pretty lucky, just a few, mostly in my face, actually. Oddly enough.
Well, that's why you look so doggone ugly.
Well, no, then I'm still looking good. Look at this.
Well, so, okay. Now, when was the last time you rode a bull?
Jeez, that seems like a whole life ago. Let's see, 28. I was probably 20. It was either 22 or 23.
So 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually in shape 5 years ago.
Okay, so I played hockey when I was a kid, but I haven't worn a pair of skates since 1991.
I was 50 pounds lighter.
I know. Yeah, so was I. I was 70 pounds lighter. And I even remember when I stopped playing hockey because I sold my car and left my ice skates in the trunk. Well, I forgot it was a week before it was the summertime. I didn't realize my skates were in the trunk. The dealer had already taken the car to auction, so I lost my skates. Never bothered buying another pair. Never played hockey again. I wasn't any good, so it wasn't worth buying another pair of skates. Skates were expensive.
All right, serious question. How on earth did you practice? Did you have your own bull that you would ride all the time, or what was your practice regimen like when you were on the rodeo?
What you practiced about an hour every day just on a stationary barrel that you would hoist up in the front end and then hoist the other way so like it was bucking. So you'd practice exactly what you do when that bull makes that movement.
And it's like it's on ropes, right? And people shake the ropes?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is a stationary barrel. It's repetition. Okay. So, when a bull goes up in the front end, when he puts his head up first, because that's what he does before he bucks, you can't just sit back on your pockets because then when he kicks, he's gonna throw you right off.
Wait, what do you mean by sit back on your pockets?
Like if you're sitting on your butt, when he rears up in the front end, you're going to be like this.
Yeah,
you
have to
be like that.
You have to lean forward.
You have to go forward, actually stand up on your legs. So that's what you practice doing for countless hours. Another good way, I actually bought a horse to ride bareback. You can run it, trot it, do whatever you want. That actually really helps your muscles and helps you with an animal that's going forward. Now, I also used to jump my horse because that's when the horse jumps, that's the same movement a bull makes when it's bucking. So there's plenty of different ways to practice, but those are the best ways.
That's fascinating. We need to do more rodeo stuff on here because you actually know about rodeo. I've never even.
I could teach a bull riding school if I wanted to. I mean, it's pretty in depth. There's a lot more to it than people think.
We need to do a little bit more of that because I know it's big around here, and I've never ridden a horse.
Have you talked to Coach LeDuc at all yet?
No.
Did I even introduce you to Coastal Dude?
You didn't know.
Okay.
Well, we've had
You try to. I don't think you want people to know that you know me.
and we've had the rodeo team in before. I mean, we have. So now, Vic, have you ever ridden a horse?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm the only one that's never ridden a horse.
All right, now,
a horse?
Now I'm gonna say, people are gonna, especially people here listening, are gonna laugh at me. But I grew up in Northern Virginia, of course, and I grew up in Scout. You know, I did Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I started from Tiger Cubs all the way to Eagle Scout. And there's a horsemanship merit badge.
Oh, okay.
Horseback riding merit badge. So I think it was in Prince William County in Manassas, and the county that I grew up in. You know, you have the urban life, and then if you go on the western part of this county, it's farmland. So there was this ranch where you could take horseback riding lessons, and there's a horseback riding merit badge. And I got the horseback. It was a whole camp out and everything. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
That sounds fun.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, I can't be around horses too much, or even when there's rodeo. Like, for example, the buck and ball. Or if there's an indoor rodeo, I can't go to them.
You're allergic.
I can't.
Yeah.
I went to the buck and ball, I think the first or second year I was here, and I was in there 15 minutes, and I was with Becca, a whole bunch of other people. And Becca, who used to work with us here, and I was in there, and I couldn't be in there more than 15 minutes. I had to leave. I said, I'll see you guys at the dance. I had to go get an inhaler and some Benadryl and stuff because I was flaring up. Same thing. We were talking about this the other day. We were talking about it out there how I think I was probably 13 years old. We were going to a music convention. I'm from a very musical family, and there's a music convention that my family tries to go to every year where they play mandolins and mandolas, and I would play the bass and everything like that. But I want to say the convention this year was in Louisville, Kentucky, and we drove. And it was either on the way out or on the way back. We stopped at Churchill Downs because my sisters, I was probably 13 at the time, so my sisters would have been like 10. And they love horses. So they wanted to go to Churchill Downs and go look at the horses and everything. You know, it wasn't during Kentucky Derby. And the convention is usually in June. But anyhow, so we went. Couldn't stay there more than 30 minutes.
Wow.
I was flaring up and everything. I can't do it. I don't know if it's the hay. I don't know if it's the horsehair.
Dirt, maybe?
It might be something. I mean, horsehair, is used on bows in orchestras and stuff like that, and that didn't bother me.
Well,
so I don't know what it is.
It's the dander from the animals have dander, and like I said, I've never ridden. My kid's a competitive equestrian rider, but I never even sat on the back of a horse.
It's
even
fun.
When I was a kid.
It's a blast.
It's really fun. I could probably do that if I was outdoors and I took like a Claritin beforehand or something.
Follow-up question. You mentioned the dance. Did you have fun? Did you drop it low and pick it up slow at the dance, or how'd that go?
No.
I don't think it was that kind of dance.
No.
This is a two-step dance.
You can drop it low during a two-step. It's been done.
Can you? See, I don't know. I get one step in and trip over my feet. So can't dance.
You can drop it low to the flow, DC.
I can. I'll blow my knees out.
I'd rip my pants.
Well,
so I can.
That's a possibility too.
I don't know if I'd be able to get back up.
It depends.
That's my question.
It
Can
depends
you get back up after you drop it low to the flow?
The sad thing is, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm too old for that.
Oh, I'm too fat. It's not that I'm too old. I'm too fat.
Well, we're all too fat.
Yeah. There's
what
no
are you
drop
talking about, DC?
There's
Give
no
me a
drop
break.
low in this room.
Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can
No,
drop it.
he's going to try it.
Here we go. I'm going to try it.
Try to drop it low.
Oh, well, thank you for.
Ow! I just fell to the floor.
He just fell down, folks.
That's a good time to take a break. I think
We're out of control.
I think Vic just injured himself.
Mayday! Mayday!
It's just to hear this big thump, and that's. I think the entire.
He's still down. He's still down.
Yeah. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Riders baseball.
Yeah, we should actually
Nice transition.
Well, hey, at least it was a sport.
That's true.
We did talk about a sport,
We did.
which is a good start. We'll be right back.
An hour without politics? Yes. It's about time. Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks on News Talk 1270 KIML. You're listening to Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks with Don Carpenter and Chris Brennell.
Okay, I just want to say right off the bat, if it snows tomorrow, it will officially be the latest that I've ever seen snow fall in a place where I've lived. I mean, I know it doesn't melt until July up in the mountains, but really, tomorrow's May 20th.
Same here, yep.
If it snows tomorrow, there's something wrong. I'm ready for some of this global warming.
Oh, boy.
Meanwhile,
Oh, boy.
it was 95 yesterday in Baltimore.
Oh, wow.
95 degrees yesterday. So I'm looking forward to some nice warm weather in the mostly northern city of Baltimore.
When it snowed last week, I told a family member, it's snowing here. And they're like, the response was, it's like summer.
Well, okay. Now, was this family?
That was their quote. It's like summer.
In Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kansas City. Well, and that's not that far south from here. I mean, it's only a couple hundred miles. So I don't know what's going on. I don't want to speculate, but there's something going on with the weather. I think it's
natural turn.
Well, I think it's the CIA and their weather machine.
I think it. Yes, I just talked about this on Melody's show.
Man.
I said that the weather machine started by the Weather Channel, their propaganda that they're putting out there. And you think those Doppler radars, you think that's detecting storms? Oh, no. Zoom in on those Doppler radars. They can see through your house, buddy. They're recording you. They're watching you. It's Big Brother at its finest right here, DC, and something has to be done about it.
Welcome to the Alex Jones Show. I don't see anything about the Doppler radar, but I do see a story. Pierce Morgan calls for war.
Oh, are you on InfoWars?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime any kind of conspiracy stuff comes up, I immediately punch up InfoWars. I should just have a link to it. Although I'd be ashamed to have anybody come in and actually see that I have InfoWars on my toolbar. Okay, so let's talk a little
That's
baseball. Even though it's going to snow tomorrow, it is baseball season.
It is, yeah.
And the Riders, I mean, they're managing to get some games in despite the terrible weather.
Well, yeah, they're getting games in. Not only are they playing, but they're winning. They're on a roll right now. They've won 9 straight games. They actually got a couple of more forfeit wins, so they're 22-6 officially.
A win's a win.
A win's a win. They got 2 wins at Spearfish last night, 2 shutout wins, 5-0. I think the big bonus for this ball club right now, there's a couple things. First off, pitching-wise, in their last 8 outings, they've had 7 quality starts. And the bullpen's coming in performing well at a high level. And I had a stat last night that really told the story of this Riders team and why Nate Perleyberg, their manager, was concerned about hitting. The fact is this team averages close to 8 runs per game, but against winning teams this year, they're down to 4.5 runs per game. So it was nice last night that they got some timely hitting and scored some runs early, especially in Game 2, and then scored some runs late to cap off Game 1. They had some good plate appearances. So I think Nate, I'll talk to him later today, but I'm sure when I talk to him, he's going to be pretty happy about the plate appearances. You mix that with the pitching and defense.
Yeah,
this team's going really strong right now.
Well, and the pitching and defense have been solid all year. I mean, getting better is good. It was the hitting that's I don't want to say it's been an issue, but that's been the weak spot of an otherwise pretty solid team. And
let's get into the hitting a little bit because they're replacing their 3 and 4 hitters from last year. And I've talked about this a ton. And we knew that was going to be a challenge. And really early in the season, you had a couple guys that were struggling, like Jaron Arbach. He's now starting to hit a little bit. He's not struggling. He's right now has a 7-game hit streak, hitting over 300 during that span, doing a very good job. He's raised his average, I believe, 40 points probably in the last couple of weeks. And then you have other guys, Kyler Stark, who was hitting very well. And then, but the thing is the middle of the order wasn't hitting well together. So you had Arbach and Stark struggling beginning of the year. Hooker and Tennant were hitting the cover off the ball early. And then when Arbach got going and Stark got going, Hooker and Tennant kind of slid off. And now all of a sudden they're starting to come together. Hooker's starting to get out of his slump. He was 3 for 24, had 3 hits last night. And so I think that's very scary for pitching for the opposing teams, because how are you going to bat around those 4 guys? Not to mention, you got to worry about the top of the order in Hughes and Lackey, who those 2 have just been great all season.
Well, and here's the thing: when you have a team that has a good bit of turnover, is it easier to get pitching together and pitching and defense? Is it easier to get that together early, or is it easier generally to get hitting together early? Because it seems like if you're replacing a lot of players, that it would be normal for the hitting to be kind of harder to get together.
I disagree. I would think hitting, because I really think that's why Perleyberg and the rest of his coaching staffs have the junior riders and the other team, the Rustlers, because the chance to grow up the program and work them into the system, and you'll probably see this a lot later on this year, and they did it last year too. You'll see about 3 or 4 guys from their JV squad, I believe the Rustlers. They'll come in and they'll get some playing time, and before Perleyberg has to set the final roster, which I want to say is like in June or July, he'll bring in 2 or 3 guys that'll come up and have a chance. And I think Hooker was one of them last year. If I remember correctly, I think Hooker was one that was playing in the Rustlers program. He got some time in the varsity program and the Riders program, if I remember correctly. And he's worked his way up. I think when it comes to the hitting, it's a little easier than the pitching, because you've got to try and work on that pitching. You got to try what 2 or 3 pitches are your best pitches. And then when you get higher up, the guys get better at hitting them. This is why I think hitting's a little easier, because you got to work on how to ball placement, knowing if it's a 1 and 2 count, what's the best pitch to throw. It's all about strategy in that regard. Whereas I think it's a little easier in hitting as it is opposed to trying to improve your pitching, and that's why earlier in the season the pitching with the bullpen wasn't doing as well.
Right. And
especially last night with both games. In the first game, the starting pitcher went, 4 or 5 innings?
4 innings, yeah.
And then, who was it, Tennant that closed the second, or played in the second one? He had a complete game.
He had a complete game, yeah. He was fantastic.
So it's being able to go as deep as you can and use the bullpen. And that's the benefit of how with American Legion ball and even high school ball in states where they have high school ball is a lot of these players, they play different positions. You'll pitch. You might be a pitcher one game. The next game you might be playing in the outfield, or vice versa. And I think the opportunity to use your different positions, and it's really what high school's for. High school and American Legion ball is for, is to develop your game, know what positions you're good at, especially when it comes to the college level, because we mentioned every year these 3 or 4 guys every year from the Riders go on to play JUCO ball, and that's how they develop the system, and that's what Perleyberg. I bet if you ask Perleyberg, that's part of the reason why he has all these different pitchers playing different positions, because that's how you build up your program, figuring out. And of course, Perleyberg wants to see his players advance to the JUCO level, and like what's his name, Hutcherson, going into minor league baseball. So that's the whole idea, and trying to get them to try these different positions and hone in on certain skills if that's what you're good at. But back to what you were saying, I disagree. Yeah. I think pitching is a little harder to hone in on than hitting is.
Yeah, well, as an individual player, yeah.
Well, and the batting has taken longer than the pitching, which is a bit of a surprise considering the Riders got some tough news about a week and a half ago. Tanner Rogan's not coming back. He's having Tommy John surgery. So he's out, and so it's been a nice thing that these pitchers have stepped up. I mean, Ian Durkin, 3 straight quality starts. Langdon now, 2 straight quality starts. Tennant turned it around from his last start where he got beat up by the Sixers. Right. Complete game last night. So this came at a really good time when this team's there's a big question mark around particularly their starting pitching.
Well, and now since you mentioned that actually brings up the next question I had. When you have at this level, when you have players, when you have pitchers playing complete games, and then maybe they'll go on and play another position for the next game, do you start worrying about pitch counts? Do you worry because you don't want a 16-year-old kid getting Tommy John surgery. So you do worry about pitch count then, right?
If you're a smart coach, and which Perleyberg is, but I think
he's told me that.
I don't think it was when you were here. I don't know if it was when Chad was here or when Ted Ripko was here, the 2 former sports directors. I remember reading a story, and we talked about it on the air. And it was a high school team. It was not an American Legion team, but it was a high school team in some other state where this kid, this coach, this idiotic coach, if you ask me, kept this kid in, and he pitched like 160 pitches
I remember
in
the story.
one game. It's the dumbest thing in the world.
And
Why would you want to do that to your kid?
Wow.
He had something like 18 or 20 strikeouts, and it was a perfect game.
You're there as a high school / American Legion coach to develop your players, to want them to continue to play. If you're going to wear them out, then you're going to either injure them, or B, they're going to get tired of wanting to pursue the passion of baseball. And it goes with every sport.
And I remember that story. I mean, it was when Chad was here, so it was probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. But it was, this kid had a perfect game, and he'd thrown 160 pitches, and if I remember right, that wasn't his first no-hitter in that season. I mean, this kid always pitched 160 pitches.
I understand it'd be nice to have a perfect game, but I would rather, if I were a player and my coach came out to me and says, "Hey, you're at a 60 or 70 pitch count. I'm capping you now, even though you played 5 great innings of baseball."
Yeah,
I don't want you to have to sit out for 4 or 5 games because your arm is killing you.
Right.
And I mean that gives momentum to you that you were able to get us to 5 or 6 in a 7-inning game, or even a 9-inning game if you got to 6. That you showed your coach you're able to get us deep, and we don't have to use the bullpen as much.
Exactly. And my little brother pitches, and if it was, my dad's talked about this before. He says if a coach is pitching him too much, if that was my brother out there, he'd yank him. He'd just go get him off the field and say, "Up, we're going home."
Yeah,
you're not going to be pitching, 100 freaking pitches in a little league baseball game.
Yeah, and I think, and that is, that's a thing that's becoming a problem in the lower levels of baseball, where little league and then into high school and Legion ball is you have these teams where they bring together these powerhouse teams, and they're just pitching the arms off these kids. So it's good to see a team and a coach that actually worries about the well-being of the kids over one win on a scorecard.
And the other thing is, back to pitching, and I'm going to go back from last year into this year. I have not seen any games personally this year, but I remember last year Mason Boner he did a good job in relief and closing. He might have started a couple games, but he was mainly relief and closing last year. I believe he's on the starting rotation now, isn't he? Boner?
Yeah, he switches. He does the same thing, starts and comes in relief.
I think Boner, and going back to how this is the reason why you want to use your bullpen players and give them experience is for the opportunity as you grow older to see if you are the starting role. And there is no problem. There are tons of great pitchers that are known for the in relief situation or in the close situation. And, I think it's a respectable position to be a situational relief pitcher. Dan, Chris and I have talked about this off the air all the time. What's the best and easiest job in baseball and get paid big bucks is
closer,
is bullpen catcher, or even a situational pitcher that throws out 5 pitches. You get one guy out because it's a situation where you're a righty, he's a lefty, or whatever, and you make $1 million and you sit there and you eat sunflower seeds the rest of the game. But in order to do that, you have to have placement. You have to have the perfect pitch to know when to do that. It's a skill. It's not just throw in some random guy to throw it. It's a skill position, and being able to learn how to know what your 2 or 3 pitches are and hone in on those and work on those. That's where you get started. Even at the high school American Legion level, and of course they really build upon that in minor league baseball, where they, will probably teach you a different pitch. But anyhow, I'm rambling. But I think
that's a really interesting. It might be one of the more interesting aspects of baseball is just especially like a situational pitcher that comes in for one pinch
Usually
hitter,
a lefty.
Yeah, a pinch hitter, or he'll come, or the closer, just the regular closer. I mean, that's almost as much of a mental job as it is a physical one. I mean, some of these guys aren't physically imposing, But what they do is they have a way of intimidating batters enough so that they can do what they need to do.
It is more mental for them because think about when these situational guys or the closer come in, it's typically a close game, whether you're down or up, and so they're in key situations. So they're in a stressful situation more than anything.
Well, and then you look what happens when one of them loses their stuff. Look at what happened to Mitch Williams in Philadelphia when he lost that World Series for him. And he was never the same again. The guy, he's still not the same. I mean, he was finally able to move back to Philadelphia after they won the World Series. People finally, stopped with the death threats.
Darn Joe Carter.
But he just was not the same after one batter. One batter changed his entire life.
One pitcher that was really good in relief back when he played for the Dodgers was Eric Gagne. I thought he did a good job, but then all of a sudden he kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
Yep.
Same thing with Papelbon. Papelbon was great when he was with the Red Sox, and then when he went to Philly, right? I think.
Yeah,
Philly.
Papelbon.
Yeah. Just it wasn't the same for Papelbon.
Well, that's what happens when people go to the Phillies. They just. It's a black hole of baseball talent. Even though they've won 6 in a row, they've won 6 in a row and they're still in last place.
Whoops!
I think they're 10 games out of first after winning 6 in a row.
Ouch! It's a rough go.
I think they're 7 or 8 games under 500. I mean they're bad. I mean the Orioles are bad, but the Phillies are really bad this year. And that's the good thing about having 2 teams. You can pick. Which one you want to follow that year
or that season?
Oh my gosh!
Oh boy!
You do that with the Ravens and Bills too on the football side?
No.
Ravens and Bills.
Well, I was a Bills fan before Baltimore got.
Why?
Because we didn't have a team.
Why not Philly? Weren't you born not Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania?
I was born in Maryland. I grew up in Pennsylvania. But where I grew up was 50 miles from Baltimore, 100 miles from Philly, 200 from Pittsburgh. And I was never going to be a Steelers fan.
And then why a Bills fan?
It was when they were winning Super Bowls. It was I was
they
a teenager.
weren't. They never won a Super Bowl.
They were making it.
Yeah, going to the Super Bowl. They were good back then.
Oh, back in the Jim Kelly era.
Yeah. This was
4 times
late
luck
80s
into a win.
Heck.
That's rough. Have you watched the missing rings on that?
No,
it's tragic.
Well,
it almost brings you to tears.
That team. That team was cursed. I'm telling you.
It really was.
I'll tell you what,
at the time, the Eagles were bad. The Steelers were bad. Baltimore didn't have a football team, so it was the Eagles or the Bills.
That Bills-Oilers playoff game.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorite childhood memories. Was my dad and I, we were shopping. I think it was Kmart or something. This is back in the day where, like Kmart, you could go into Kmart and they'd actually have the game on TV. Back when they
in the electronics department.
In the electronics department.
Yeah.
We just stood there watching that game.
I woke up.
That was
late.
the greatest comeback, in my opinion, ever. In
Yeah,
football.
It was. It really was.
I stayed up late the night before and woke up late, and it was 35-3 when I woke up. I was, well, Bills are going to blow it. And then of course, once I woke up, things started happening.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And look, I mean, the Bills were a great team, and not so much. Not so much. And we got a local team, so I changed my allegiances.
I hate playoff comebacks.
Well, you're a Chiefs fan, so.
Yeah. Remember the Colts Chiefs 2 years ago? I think the Chiefs were up 38-10 and lost. Remember that?
Oh,
we had like 6 players get injured. Andrew Luck fumbles on the 3-yard line, is able to pick up the football after dropping it on the ground and then runs it in for the touchdown. I turned the TV off and it was over.
Yeah, but now
I'm still hurting.
I've got one.
The worst sports moment of my life was that game.
But the Chiefs also are one of the best. They have one of the best sports moments of all time. Steve Bono's 76-yard bootleg.
That is true.
That is the funniest play I've ever seen.
It really is.
Steve Bono, who is not known for being a speedy guy, he's running nothing but green all around him. Not a single Cardinals player around him. It's. I mean, I'm watching it right now. This is the funniest football. There he goes.
Yeah, he runs like a 6'3" 40.
He's got an offensive lineman waving him on, and there he goes. There's a referee within 20 yards, and that's it.
There's no Cardinals. They quit. They're like, we're good.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs won that game 40-0 or something like that. I don't know.
The Chiefs were good back then.
The one game that I didn't stay up to watch that I regret was when Joe Gibbs came back for the Redskins as a coach, and they were playing Monday night. I think it was either Monday night or Sunday night football against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, and Mark Brunell had that awesome comeback win for the Redskins. And I went to bed early because I was like, I'm tired. I got to get up early in the morning, go to work. Wake up in the morning. Mark Brunell throws his awesome touchdown. Redskins win. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? And against the Cowboys? Dang, I should have stayed up. But anyhow, yeah.
It'll teach you to go to bed during a big game.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and I had to get up at 6 in the morning.
You'll be fine. Stay up and watch the game.
Oh,
well,
man.
I know how it is. I go to sleep at 8 o'clock or 8:30. So I usually miss the end of Sunday night football unless the Ravens are on. Then I'll just stay up late. Okay, we'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll only have a couple minutes when we come back to wrap things up, but we'll do that in just a moment.
You're listening to the Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks Hour on the Don Carpenter Show. News Talk 1270 KIML. You're listening to Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks with Don Carpenter and Chris Brennel.
You get a kick out of that Weather Center every time.
Oh, yeah.
The Weather Center is me and the NOAA website.
And the computer screen, that's the weather center. The big weather. It makes it sound like we have a huge weather center.
It's the full force of the federal government running the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or National Weather Service. That's
really, the weather center, though, here is like where I get itches. If my elbow itches, we're getting snow. My left ankle itches, we're getting rain. Otherwise, if I'm not itchy, it's going to be a nice sunny day.
So you're itchy everywhere today.
Hey, I really am, but that's not because of the weather. I need some ointment bad.
Yeah, we're complete. Well, that's a personal problem.
I'm out.
Okay, we're completely out of time. What do we have coming up for the Riders?
Well, they play tomorrow night, Wednesday at the Rapid City Hard Hats, 5:30. It's going to be 1 9-inning game. We'll have that right here on News Talk 1270 KIML. Then also this weekend, big tournament. They'll play Friday at 7:30, Saturday at 7:30, Sunday at 7:30, and then they'll play Monday in the title game, hopefully.
You're going to be busy this weekend.
I am.
I'm going to be doing nothing this weekend. Get packing for vacation. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Well, that'd be fun.
Okay, we're out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned for Rush.
What you gonna do, brother, when Don Carpenter runs wild on you? KIML, brother. ML, brother.